In commemoration of the greatest pieces of music ever made, Apple Music has put together a list called 100 Best Albums meant to honor the greatest albums ever made. The albums from this list were handpicked by experts and artists alike. So did they get it right? Well, that's what I, Marquis Falcon, am here to judge today. As a professional music reviewer myself, let's see what picks they ended up going with. Number 100, Body Talk by Robin. Not the best dance album you could pick for a list like this, but there are far better records out there that could have easily gotten this spot. Number 99, Hotel California by Eagles. Okay, look, there are better rock albums that you could have put at this spot. I mean, hell, I would even argue that Queen's A Night at the Opera deserves a spot more than this album does. Number 98, Astro World by Travis Scott. A pretty good album in itself, but did it really deserve to get picked over Rodeo? I don't think so. Number 97, Rage Against the Machine's self-titled album. Yes, 100% deserves to be on here. Number 96, Pure Heroin by Lorde. A solid pop release, but I wouldn't really put it over other pop releases that are better than this one. Number 95, Confessions by Usher. I mean, if you really wanted to put a Renaissance R&B record on here, then you could have picked an Aaliyah record, for crying out loud. But this is a debatable placement. Number 94, Untrue by Burial. A great electronic record. Go listen to it if you haven't already. Number 93, A Seat at the Table by Solange. Before we go into this album, a little fun fact about Solange. She's actually Beyoncé's sister, so that makes her more talented than we may have initially thought. Her other record was better, but still a good pick. Number 92, Flower Boy by Tyler the Creator. I'm not too upset at this pick because it is a good album, but many people would have preferred to see Igor on this list instead. Just saying. Number 91, Listen Without Prejudice Volume 1 by George Michael. Over Faith and Older? That's kinda questionable, but still a solid pick. Number 90, Back in Black by AC/DC. It's a good album, but over White Pony by Deftones? Over Songs About Jane by Maroon 5? Yeah, I'm not sure about this one. Number 89, The Fame Monster by Lady Gaga. Not a bad pick. I feel like dance pop, as a whole, should be represented on this list. Number 88, I Put a Spell on You by Nina Simone. Yes, this is a good pick. Number 87, Blue Lines by Massive Attack. I'm more of a Mezzanine fan myself, but I'll take it. Trip Hop needs represented as well. Number 86, My Life by Mary J. Blige. Now this is how you make a good R&B pick. Number 85, Golden Hour by Cassie Musgraves. Not really the biggest fan of this record, but I suppose you could put it on here. Number 84, Doggy Style by Snoop Dogg. An overall classic that you need to listen to. Number 83, Horses by Patti Smith. Yes. Number 82, Get Rich or Die Trying by 50 Cent. Arguably one of the greatest gangsta rap records ever made. Number 81, After the Gold Rush by Neil Young. A little low on a list like this, but I still respect the pick regardless. Number 80, The Marshall Mathers LP by Eminem. I'm glad Eminem made the list with my personal favorite album from him. Even though this record contains a lot of profanity in it and may be disturbing at times, it still has a lot of personality to it that made it stand out against other 2000s releases. Number 79, Norman fucking Rockwell by Lana Del Rey. I'm not feeling this pick. Next. Number 78, Goodbye Yellow Brick Road by Elton John. Great pick. Number 77, Like a Prayer by Madonna. Truly a great pop record that deserves to be on here. Number 76, Un Verano Sin Ti by Bad Bunny. The title, in English, translates to A Summer Without You. Not like it matters because this album was bloated as hell. Not saying this was a terrible album, but the sound of it really started to get old halfway through. It's just the same stuff over and over again. Eventually, it is gonna drive you crazy. And I definitely don't think this is a consistent enough album for it to be at number 76 on this list. Over Selena? Y'all fucked up the moment you decided to put this untalented artist over Selena. It's like your morals went down the toilet or something. Whatever. On with the next pick. Number 75. Super Duper Fly by Missy Elliott. Pretty solid pick here, but this could have easily gone to Grey Area by Little Sims as well. Number 74. The Downward Spiral by 9 Inch Nails. The Downward Spiral is a very disturbing record as Trent Reznor's negative thoughts throughout the album's runtime progressively get worse and worse to where he eventually ends up killing himself. It's a must listen if you haven't checked it out already. I will warn you, this album is very dark, but it's worth listening to. Trust me on this one. Number 73. Aja by Steely Dan. Great pick. That's all I gotta say. Number 72. SOS by SZA. Isn't it a little too early to be calling this one of the best albums to come out? Because it has only been out for 2 years and it already has a placement on a list like this. I mean, not that it's a bad record by any means, but maybe we should give this a little more time before we start calling it as such. That's all I'm gonna say about this. Number 71. Trans Europe Express by Kraftwerk. In my opinion, this should have definitely gone to Traveling Without Moving by Jamiroquai. But it is what it is, I guess. Number 70. NWA's Straight Outta Compton. I definitely think the infamous by Mobb Deep should have gotten picked overall, but this isn't a bad choice. In terms of the influence it had on the rap culture, it definitely helped a lot with the gangsta rap movement. So you can't really deny that this album had a significant impact on rap as a whole today, but it getting picked over the infamous or Hell on Earth is kinda questionable on their part. Number 69. Master of Puppets by Metallica. Ride the Lightning or the Black Album could have easily gotten picked as well, but I'm not too mad at this placement. I'm still glad Metallica's on the list. Number 68. Is This It by The Strokes. This is the group's very best album and I'm glad it got chosen. Number 67. Dummy by Portishead. It's a great record. Couldn't recommend it more. Number 66. The Queen Is Dead by The Smiths. Y'all were worrying about the wrong Queen all this time. Despite its title though, great album. Number 65. 3 Feet High and Rising by De La Soul. In the time where rap music was focused on more street rhymes and less nerdy music like most of the songs that can be found on this album, De La Soul defied the odds. With this album, they brought a new personality that no other rap record had ever had before and changed the rap landscape forever, now allowing for any rapper to experiment with a multitude of different sounds and styles. And now, they can do it in ways that are less criticized now, even if people personally tell them that the sound doesn't work out for them. That's how they grow as an artist personally. They try out many different things and then see what sound they wanna personally stick to. So for changing the expectations a normal rap record was expected to have, 3 Feet High and Rising is one of the very best group rap efforts we have seen, even if that one song is on there. Number 64. Baduism by Erykah Badu. I talked about Erykah Badu on my channel before. Twice actually. So you know I'm pretty experienced with her music. With that being said though, Mama's Gun definitely deserved to be on here, but I can't be too mad at this pick either because this album is great as well. Number 63. Are You Experienced by the Jimi Hendrix Experience. While the obvious pick would have been Electric Ladyland, this is a good pick as well. Number 62. All Eyes on Me by Tupac. It's not very often nowadays that you get an album that's long but is also rewarding to listen to at the same time. All Eyes on Me is the best example of quantity and quality as you get both on this album. And it's safe to say that you're never getting another album quite like this in a long time. Especially a double-sided album like this one. It might be a hot take but I don't care. This is better than Life After Death in my opinion. Number 61. Love Deluxe by Sade. Sade's voice is beautiful and makes this album so worth listening to in the first place. Check it out if you haven't already. If you like R&B, I bet you'll love this. Number 60. The Velvet Underground and Nico.
Could I wham my Oingo Boingo into your Velvet Underground?
Despite the album cover having a fruit that looks an awful lot like a shaft, it's still a great album. Number 59. AM by Arctic Monkeys. Oh my lord, I'm gonna go on a tangent again. All of the alternative albums you could have picked and you went with this one? Okay, look. I got a long list of albums that are better than this one and I better hear some reasoning as to why your album is better than any of these. Ahem. Demon Days by Gorillaz is better than this album. Trench by 21 Pilots is better than this album. Plastic Beach by Gorillaz is better than this album. Currents by Tame Impala is better than this album. Hybrid Theory is better than this album. Good News for People Who Love Bad News by Modest Mouse is better than this album. Now that I mention it, why the fuck did that album not get picked? I'm actually livid at this pick. Arctic Monkeys is overrated. I don't care if you don't agree with me. It's just that all of these alternative releases are better and this one isn't even remotely good. That's all I'm gonna say. Let's just please move on. Number 58. What's the Story Morning Glory by Oasis. It's just overhyped white people music. Let's just move on. Number 57. Voodoo by D'Angelo. Another really good R&B pick. For someone who is constantly mentioned as the best Renaissance R&B artist, he sure as hell deserves to be on here. Number 56. Disintegration by The Cure. I sure as hell hope I look better than Robert Smith in the coming years because Jesus Christ. But yeah, it's a great album regardless. Number 55. Anti by Rihanna. This isn't a horrible pick by any means, but there are other pop records that may have deserved it more. Number 54. A Love Supreme by John Coltrane. It's an amazing and influential record that critics love, so I expected to see it on here. Number 53. Exile on Main Street by the Rolling Stones. Let It Bleed or Sticky Fingers may have been better picks in my opinion, but I guess I'll let this one slide. Number 52. Appetite for Destruction by Guns N' Roses. Okay, what are we doing? If you wanted to pick a good rock album which is a blast from the past, then you might as well have picked Power Slave by Iron Maiden or Audioslave's self-titled album. Jesus Christ. Number 51. Sign o' the Times by Prince. Prince definitely deserves to be on this list as he was one of the greatest musicians to ever grace this earth. I'm hoping they have more than one album from this man on the list though. Number 50. Hounds of Love by Kate Bush. One of the greatest 80s pop albums ever made. It's crazy how Running Up That Hill gained traction nearly 37 years after its initial release because the song was featured in Stranger Things Season 4. Not saying it wouldn't be a hit, but the song got bigger than I ever expected it to. That scene where Max was levitating was peak television right there. I can't wait for the final season, by the way. Great pick. Number 49. The Joshua Tree by U2. The first half is amazing and contains the best song the band has ever made. I am of course talking about With or Without You, the most emotionally packed song on the album. I think overall, this is a great pick. Number 48. Paul's Boutique by Beastie Boys. Definitely the peak of their music. Can't be too mad at this pick. Number 47. Take Care by Drake. Glad they chose this album because it really highlights Drake's prime. When he was his most vulnerable with his songwriting and when he knew how to make really deep songs that had a lot of substance. And I don't think he could ever make an album like this ever again because he has definitely made some records that are worse than this one, to put it politely. Number 46. Exodus by Bob Marley and the Wailers. Bob Marley definitely deserves to be on this list for the significant impact he had to the music culture as a whole, and this was definitely the right pick. Number 45. Homogenic by Björk. Amazing album. Glad that an Icelandic artist is getting representation on this list, even though that cover's a little creepy. Number 44. Inner Visions by Stevie Wonder. His finest piece of work that often gets outshined by Talking Book and, obviously, Songs in the Key of Love. But if you have heard any of those records I've previously mentioned from him, then this album is right up your alley. Number 43. Remain in Light by Talking Heads. Not every album needs to be normal per se, because this album is all over the place with its sound, showing that it's okay for an album to sound weird. It's a shame everyone's getting involved couldn't sound as good as this though. Number 42. Control by Janet Jackson. Thank God they didn't pick Velvet Rope. Number 41. Aquemini by Outkast. Seeing as it's their best collaborative effort together, it's a great pick on a list like this one. Number 40. I Never Loved a Man the Way I Love You by Aretha Franklin. Great record. She deserves to be on here as well. Number 39. Illmatic by Nas. Without a doubt one of the best and most concise 90s rap records to exist. I guarantee you that there's not a single bad song on this album. Every beat choice hits and the rapping from Nas is always impactful. Just overall an amazing album that cemented his legacy in rap the moment it was released. Number 38. Tapestry by Carole King. Carole King has an amazing voice on here and her lyrics are great as well. Overall a great album. Number 37. Enter the Wu-Tang. 36 Chambers by Wu-Tang Clan. A great showcase of the rap group's talent. I personally think RZA had the best performances on the entire album, but Ol' Dirty Bastard had some great contributions as well. Number 36. Beyoncé's self-titled album. Any other album from her could have easily made the list as well, but great pick. Number 35. London Calling by The Clash. It's a great pick. That's all I have to say. Number 34. It Takes a Nation of Millions to Hold Us Back by Public Enemy. This album is an example of political rap music done right. If you want an example of it being done wrong, then just listen to the entirety of Tom MacDonald's discography. I highly recommend that you listen to this. Number 33. Kid A by Radiohead. An absolutely amazing album. You should go listen to it. Number 32. The Notorious B.I.G.'s Ready to Die. The fact that it's higher than a Tupac album is fucking insane, but it definitely deserves it, as this was one of the greatest debut albums to ever come out from a rapper. Just don't listen to the Fuck Me interlude in public though. Number 31. Jagged Little Pill by Alanis Morissette. Because of course, when you're having an existential crisis, it calls for music. This isn't really my cup of tea. I'm just saying. Number 30. When We All Fall Asleep. Where Do We Go by Billie Eilish. So this over Food by MF Doom? Okay, you have officially lost my respect with this list. Get her out of here. Get out! Number 29. The Low End Theory by A Tribe Called Quest. The best album a rap group has ever made. The record is very consistent. No misses. Just overall greatness. Number 28. The Dark Side of the Moon by Pink Floyd. Not only is it the most iconic rock album to exist, but it's also one of the greatest to exist as well. Number 27. Led Zeppelin 2 by Led Zeppelin. The whole series of albums from them named Led Zeppelin are some of the greatest albums the rock genre has to offer. Definitely peaked at the 4th installment, but the 2nd installment is also really good. Number 26. My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West. The fact that Late Registration or Graduation didn't get picked is insane, but it's not the worst pick you could have made. This pick might upset Fantano though. Number 25. Kind of Blue by Miles Davis. You want a good jazz album? Listen to this one. It will not disappoint. Even though Bitches Brew could have also made the list, this is the more impactful record though. Number 24. The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars by David Bowie. Jesus Christ, that's a long title. But the album itself is not as long as it. Thankfully. It's actually a great record from him. Now it could be argued that Aladdin Sane or Blackstar should have gotten picked, and while Blackstar is a deeply depressing album, The Rise and Fall of, I'm not saying that album title in full again, is the one most remember from Bowie. Number 23. Discovery by Daft Punk. Knowing this was before they released Human after all, they were still on a consistent streak that was unfortunately broken by that album. But hey, we got Random Access Memories after that album, so I guess it was worth it. Also, please don't listen to the drumless version. It's a waste of time. Number 22. Born to Run by Bruce Springsteen. But why is he running though? Regardless of the answer to that question, this is a great album. Number 21. Revolver by the Beatles. While the song Yellow Submarine takes away from how serious this album is supposed to sound, it's still a great listen, even though that song is kind of like a K-pop situation on Utopia. What I'm trying to say is that it doesn't fit the rest of the album's tone. Number 20. Pet Sounds by the Beach Boys. Pretty good record if I do say so myself. Number 19. The Chronic by Dr. Dre. What can I say? Some rappers know how to make some really good debut albums. I mean, just take a look at Mr. Carter's Reasonable Doubt, a prime example of this. This album is a classic and it'll only get better with time. And I mean that. Number 18. 1989. Taylor's Version by Taylor Swift. Well, I'm gonna risk my career for this one. See you on pick. Now I'm just fucking around. It's time to drop the Oppenheimer on y'all. So this album, right here, got a placement over B by Common, right? You know what I gotta say about that? Boy, is this album overrated. Even if you were going to pick this album, many Taylor Swift fans prefer the original version anyways. So this just doesn't make sense. It being over the Chronic is fucking ridiculous. Who are you making this list for? The people who have a lack of taste. Cause that's what it's looking like to me. Number 17. What's Going On by Marvin Gaye. This album is amazing. Enough said. It's Marvin Gaye. Of course it's gonna be amazing. Number 16. Blue by Joni Mitchell. I'm really impressed with this album as it gets everything right. Definitely would check it out if I was you. Number 15. 21 by Adele. Okay, look, I get it. It may be a very emotional depth album that made a lot of its listeners cry. Okay, but this isn't the type of music I could see myself listening to. I won't deny that it's good though. It's just not for me. Number 14. Highway 81 revisited by Bob Dylan. An amazing record. It has Bob's best songwriting and his best production on any record. It's definitely a must listen. Number 13. The Blueprint by Jay-Z. His prime in my opinion. Number 12. OK Computer by Radiohead. Makes sense that both this and Kid A are on here. They are tied in a way that will absolutely break you. And trust me, there are a lot of albums that made me cry. But give this one a listen. Please do. Number 11. Rumors by Fleetwood Mac. A great album. That's all I gotta say. Alright, we are now entering the top 10 with Lemonade by Beyoncé. I'm glad they chose more than one album from Beyoncé because this one definitely deserved it. You probably know that this is my second favorite album of 2016 because it felt so emotionally intact the first time I listened to it. And even going back to this record in 2024, it's still the same way for me. Definitely her finest work and worthy of being the 10th best album of all time. At our number 9 pick, we have Nevermind by Nirvana. I have to censor the album art because it's technically CP. Sorry, I don't make the rules. Now this is an album that defined rock music as a whole. This was the moment where everyone was starting to praise the genre. This might be one of the greatest rock records ever made even if the cover makes me uncomfortable. So overall, it deserves to be the 9th best album of all time. At our number 8 pick, we have Back to Black by Amy Winehouse. It's a timeless piece of art that is the singer's most vulnerable album to this date, and it deserves to be the 8th best album of all time. Also R.I.P. Amy Winehouse. At our number 7 pick, we have Good Kid Mad City by Kendrick Lamar. The story told throughout the album is very intriguing from start to finish as Kendrick tells it in ways that will keep you hooked. Also Sing About Me I'm Dying of Thirst is a song that will 100% make you cry listening to this album. I know it did for me. And this album just never misses a beat. It's very consistent and, overall, it deserves to be the 7th best album of all time, even though To Pimp a Butterfly deserved a mention. At our number 6 pick, we have Songs in the Key of Life by Stevie Wonder, a consistently great album from Stevie all around. Each song has something everyone can enjoy as it's a universal record everyone loves with a positive message attached to it. So for bringing life into music and bringing the entire world into harmony, it deserves to be the 6th best album of all time. And now, we enter the top 5 with Blonde by Frank Ocean, another album I may have cried to before. This is a genuinely beautiful and amazing album more people need to give a chance. Who knows? It might grow on you. So for just being a consistently amazing record, it deserves to be the 5th best album of all time. At our number 4 pick, we have Purple Rain by Prince and the Revolution. And they do have more than one album from Prince on here. This album 100% deserves to be on this list as it's a near flawless record that encapsulates the very best of what 80s pop had to offer. And for that reason alone, it deserves to be the 4th best album of all time. At our number 3 pick, we have Abbey Road by the Beatles. The Highs are some of the best songs you could ever ask for when it comes to this group, and because of the album's impact and iconic status, it deserves to be the 3rd best album of all time. At our number 2 pick, we have Thriller by Michael Jackson. It should be placed a little lower considering that it being higher than the Prince album kinda angers me, but I'll let it slide this one time. Just this once. But now it's time for the moment you all have been waiting for. What album made the number 1 spot? It was the miseducation of Lauryn Hill. Honestly, I can live with this pick. Even though To Pimp a Butterfly may have deserved it overall, this album is definitely gonna be the #1 pick on a lot of lists. I talked about the album before, but I'll say it once again. This album contains the best singing and rapping I have heard from Lauryn Hill, and overall, it's worthy enough of being called the best album of all time. So what did you think of the list? I know a few of these picks really upset people and made them storm in the comments being like, how on earth did this album ever get picked? But overall, this list is just okay. Expect me to be making my own list where I put Tame Impala on here instead of the Arctic fucking Monkeys. Jesus Christ. I'm still upset at that pick. But other than that, thanks for watching. The next video will be on the best diss tracks of all time. And until then, see you when that video comes out.